Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at this 2023 BMW M4 Competition xDrive Coupe. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. The M4 that you see behind me is finished off in Davitt Gray Metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this sports car out on the road. So stay tuned for that to see if the MSRP justifies this sports car. So we'll start off with what powers the M4. Underneath the hood is the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder twin power turbo engine paired to the 8-speed M Sport automatic transmission. It pumps out 503 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 3,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds with a top speed of 180 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 15.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 23 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.5 inches. Its overall length is 189.1. It has a width of 74.3 and a height of 54.3 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this M4, let's start off with the M 50 years badge. On all of the M cars, this is standard. However, you can opt for the traditional BMW badge. I think that's a really cool subtle touch for this sports car. And now let's talk about the controversial kidney grille. Personally, I think on the M cars, it looks very nice because all of the lines in the upper section of the grille make their way to the hood, so it blends in nicely. There's a forward-facing camera right in the middle, along with the M4 Comp badge, and plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine, as well as having 2 of the parking sensors right in the middle section. Now this has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with the blue design right in the middle for the adaptive LEDs. I love the C-shaped design for those DRLs as well. Very sleek housing, which matches nicely. And also in the lower section, there are massive cutouts finished off in carbon fiber. So it's a really nice touch to see, but you can also see all of the cooling that will go to those front components. There's even cutouts in the outer section of the bumper to provide even more airflow. There's some gloss black trim accents. Now for this M4, this has a staggered set of wheels. They're 19 by 9.5 up front, 20 by 10.5 in the rear with this multi-spoke design. Again, having that BMW M 50 years badge. With the red calipers, this has 6 pistons up front and a single in the rear. There's also the M4 Competition badge just behind that front tire. More gloss black in the lower side skirt. This even has carbon fiber mirror caps. There's the integrated turn signal along with a camera system too. You'll be able to tell this is an M4 because it has that floating style to the upper section of the mirror. And this even has a full carbon fiber roof. Very awesome to see. All of the window trim is blacked out. A little bit more subtle lines running down the side, but it has that nice coupe design to it. Some lines running in those fender flares as well. And then for the rear, this has a carbon fiber trunk mounted wing. There's that badge along with the backup camera. This has LED taillights, all the parking sensors. The entire diffuser is finished off in carbon fiber. And then there's that quad tip dual exhaust with the gloss black tips, which we'll start up here in just a little bit. But with the exterior wrapped up, let's make our way to the trunk space. I can just push the button up underneath. This has the power trunk, so that will open up. Now for this two-door vehicle, this actually has a decent amount of space. There's a bin over on that passenger side, same with the driver's side, and you have a nice flat surface where you can place a lot of items, making this a practical sports car. You can even fold down the back seats if you need a little bit more storage. So if this is a daily driver for you, you have a lot more practicality. And then for the power trunk, I can just push the button on the left. The one on the right will also lock this vehicle at the same time. And now we can work our way to the interior where of course you can lock and unlock it using the door handle. And for this model, we have the Fiona red leather interior. Very nice to see that on the door panel mixed with the black leather, all of the brushed aluminum. There's memory seating adjustments. These side mirrors are also power folding as well. There's a trunk release, a little bit of storage just underneath that, and then the Harman Kardon sound system. And then looking at the front seats with the M4 badge, beautiful two-tone design. They are automatic seats with the manual adjustment for the upper section for your legs if you need a little bit more comfort. You can also opt for the carbon fiber bucket seats if you'd like to. So these are the standard seats. But if I take the backrest and push it forwards, this seat will move forwards, allowing me to work my way into the back seats. So at 5'10", I actually have a decent amount of space. There's some climates right in the middle, so you can adjust those, even some auxiliaries so you can charge electronics. And then you can even fold down the entire middle seat, giving you access to the trunk storage there. Pretty good amount of visibility for this vehicle. Those side windows are massive. But as far as being comfortable, my head is just up against the headliner. You're not really buying this to be a full 4-seater vehicle, but honestly, I could ride around town in the back seats. So if you do need a sports car that is a little bit more practical, you have plenty of room for full-size adults in the back. You can even see with the seat at a normal position, plenty of leg room. So it is awesome to see that usability, making this that much more practical. And then as we hop into the front seats, you'll see M4 down on the door sill. And my favorite part is the full leather steering wheel with all of the carbon fiber accents. This is a heated steering wheel. The M badge is down below. The BMW colors are also stitched within the inside. And then we have M1 and M2, which I'll go over, but let's fire up this M4. With my foot on the brake, that red button is down below. We can bring this to life. And looking at the digital gauge cluster, on the left side is the fuel gauge and the miles per hour. On the right side is the tach and the engine temperature. You can also go through a lot more info using that top button there on the turn signal stalk. So currently it's showing some data information. We can also look at the PSI and the temperature for the tires. You can pull up some more vitals that you'd like to monitor, even live readouts for the horsepower and the torque. So if I give the vehicle some gas, you'll see those adjust. You can pull up the G-force meter, even look at the music, and then you have the different driving modes, which we'll further go through later, so you can see what modes you're currently set at. You can also tell what gear you're in. Currently the vehicle's in park. There's also a live readout for MPG. So it's nice to have those readily available. Now coming back to the steering wheel, on this left side is all the cruise control settings. On this right side, you'll see volume and tuning. There's even Bluetooth and voice commands. And then you have a shortcut to the audio, which will pop up on the heads-up display. So currently it's showing that along with miles per hour and the speed limit sign. And then we have M1 and M2. So by pushing on these, they are automatically set up, which we'll go through in the center infotainment system. If I hold on this again, I'm not sure if the camera will be able to hear this, but the exhaust note just got louder. So you can have these set up for basically your daily driving and then your back mountain road, spirited driving type of driving that you want to do with this. You can quickly have those set up. This even has the massive carbon fiber paddle shifters on each side. And then over on the left side of the steering wheel, there's a little bit of storage in the lower section, and then all the headlight and parking light adjustments along with a dimmer switch for the gauges. There's one air vent and then leather covering the entire dash. And right in the middle, you have a lot more info to go through. This is the home screen where you'll see the navigation along with music and phone. There's also the setup, your data information, tire data, and then a few other apps that you can look at. If we go back to the setup now, this is where you can configure M1 and M2, so you can see all these different settings and what you'd like to have them set up as. So it is awesome to see that. Now on this left side, there's shortcuts to your music and your phone, along with the navigation, so you can pull that up in full screen. If I go onto car and then use all of these controls to further go through that, so you have a lot of shortcuts and then this rotary dial, we can scroll up to M menu where you can go into M1 and M2. So currently you can see for M1, we have some sport and comfort settings for that. And then if we go into M2, I'm going to have these in Sport Plus with the exhaust on and all of that for the test drive. So you can quickly go back and forth depending on what you'd like to do. You also have the M Drift Analyzer. So while I mentioned earlier, this has the xDrive all-wheel drive system, you can actually make it two-wheel drive if you want to drift in your M4. So it's pretty cool that you have that option. There's also different vehicle statuses that you can monitor. If you go into the settings, you have a lot more information just to configure that the way that you'd like to. And then there are also driver profiles, owner manual, and then you can go down to the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a few other apps depending on what you'd like. Underneath that, there's some brushed aluminum. There's even a shortcut to the intelligent safety. So this is all the standard safety features for the M4 and what you'd like to set up. That button is located just above the smaller LCD screen where you can go through all the climates, which are finished off in brushed aluminum. These are heated seats, so you have those adjustments as well, and a few other controls on each side. And then underneath that, power and volume for the radio, all of the presets and tuning, and then more carbon fiber for this cover. When I open that up, there's the BMW digital key card. You can use that in place of your key fob. This also has a wireless charger, 2 cup holders, a 12 volt and a USB. And then you'll notice all the carbon fiber surrounds all of these controls right in the middle, where we can look at the shifter with the M badge on the top. If I push this to the left and up, that is for reverse. So you'll see the backup camera up here with the top-down view. I can even swipe over to the 3D view, so you can look around the entire vehicle. This is not new for BMW, but it's nice to have that amount of visibility. And then there's also the car wash or the top-down view if you're pulling into a space. So I love that amount of visibility. Drive is going to be over to the right, and if I push on it one more time, that is sport mode for the paddle shifters. Park is on the back side. You can also adjust how slow and how quickly you want that transmission to shift. It really changes the dynamics of the vehicle, so it's awesome to have that. There's traction control, a shortcut to the camera system. You can also pull up the forward-facing camera with that button. There's parking sensors along with the engine start-stop feature. And then we have a few different buttons here. M mode will actually change the entire gauge cluster. It will also change the heads-up display to where now you can see the entire tack. So if you're doing some spirited driving, you can change that into more of a sporty look. You can also go to road, sport, or track to get a little bit more performance. Just behind that, there's a setup button. There's even the exhaust note button, an auto hold, the electronic parking brake, and then in the center armrest, there's a good amount of storage for all of those items. More carbon fiber on the passenger side, and then the glove box, which can fit a lot more info. We'll take another look at the beautiful red leather. And up top, you have a call button on the back side along with the dome lights. Now that we're setting off behind the wheel for the M4 Competition, this particular model has an MSRP right over $101,000. Now that is a lot of money. This is a six-figure car with options that are not in this particular model. Like I mentioned earlier, you can get the almost $4,000 carbon fiber bucket seats, which I would highly, highly recommend. We had an M4 Comp with those seats for a week, and this is a phenomenal, phenomenal sports car. If I really needed a sports car and I had to have back seats to make it a little bit more practical, my brother owns a Nissan GTR, which is kind of similar to this in the sense that it has back seats that are usable. These are a little bit larger, but I think I could go with this. Now, you can also get the normal M4, which allows you to have the 6-speed manual. For the Competition, you just get the 8-speed. So you have a lot of different options to configure that MSRP to your liking, of course, and what you're able to afford. But the model we're in, just over 100 grand. This is worth every penny, in my opinion. Check out the videos where we took the M4 to the mountains. I'm not gonna be able to rip on this car like we did. So if you wanna see us really getting in the high RPM range and testing out even the shifting modes, just in normal mode, as I adjust that, the tack is already changing. You can set this car up in so many different ways that you can hop in it one day, hop in it another day, completely change the settings, and it will drive like a different car. I think it is truly phenomenal, the technology that is offered in this, as well as just this being a good daily driver. You can make this, like, look at the shifts. I have it in the aggressive setting right now, and that's just in normal. I'm not even shifting. And then if you want to, let's tone it down a little bit. And I think I went the wrong way. There we go. You can tone it down, and if I slow down again in normal mode, it's like driving, you know, a normal car. The shifts are what you would expect, and then when you want to, you get some spirited driving going. So this always puts a smile on my face. I love when I can get behind the wheel of the M4 because it's a little bit big on the big side, but that allows you for the practicality. Again, if you want this as your only vehicle, you could make that happen because of the amount of space. There we go. And the handling, really don't have any complaints, especially with the week that I was able to have this, driving it everywhere. It even has a good amount of ground clearance. This is a sports car. You could probably, I mean, you could lower it if you wanted to, but as is, we got this off the pad at the dealership over the curb, and it had plenty of ground clearance. So if you want to leave it like it is, because it rides and it handles incredibly well, you can use this every day because you don't have to worry about it being such a low sports car that you can't get it in this area or you can't go this way. It still has a good amount of ground clearance. So if that's something important to you. And then just the drive of it, even the standard seats are super comfortable. I like the amount of support that they do have to offer. It's quiet, it's Very, very nice. As you would expect, it's a BMW. And you have all the creature comforts that you need to make this a great, comfortable daily. And then that back roads type of vehicle taken out onto the track, and you can have that fun when you're ready to downshift. And with that downshift, we're going to switch the tack so you can see that front and center. We are in sport mode. With a mild acceleration. Again, check out the mountain road trip that we did, because we wrung this out to its full potential, and it's a phenomenal car. So light driving today with this new vehicle, but even the handling, it is such a fun car. It makes me want to get an M4 someday when I have kids and I have to get rid of my two-seater, or I don't see it's practical to own a two-seater like my R8. This could be a great option. Stick with the manual, but these paddles, I mean, you can't get over how quickly these shift. And then in the slower setting, it's taken some time, which is of course what it's doing, but we put it into the top setting there, instant. Woo! Now I will say the exhaust is not the loudest. I think it has a good tone to it. I like that there's actually somewhat of an exhaust note when you push that button. It could be louder, personal preference. I would throw on a full exhaust because, I mean, this engine, the exhaust note that you get out of it is something else. Truly a good sounding car. So we will do one last acceleration here for today's video. Woo, 100 grand right here in front of us. What do you think? I honestly think with some of the other competition that this is reasonably priced for everything that you're getting, everything that I went over in today's video. You are getting your money's worth with this M4. I truly think that this is worth every penny with how fun it is to drive. So that's gonna wrap it up. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this sports car for me today. Check out their website. Give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.